So here I am weeding my mint garden that's so overgrown with weeds and ivy that it's really not even a mint garden anymore. So I think I'm just gonna rip it all out and then start all over. Look at that worm. That's awesome. So worms are actually really, really good for your soil. As they move around, it aerates the soil and helps get oxygen to the roots. And then also their excrement is actually very, very, very healthy for your plant. So a sign of good soil is nice, good, fat, juicy worms. So we're gonna throw him back in there. He's our friend. We want him to stay. So I'm done taking out the weeds. Now I'm going to use some of this fabric that I just got at Walmart. We're going to lay this across, and it is supposed to keep weeds out and keep them from coming back. So we're going to see how it works. Okay, so now we have it all laid out, and now we're ready to put the potting soil on it. So we just got, I think this is from Lowe's or something, I don't know, my husband brought it back, so let's see how it works. Okay, so I am done laying the dirt on top. It actually used 4 bags of topsoil or potting soil, whatever it is that you want to use. And so now I'm ready to put my herbs in. This space, it's not real big. It's about 11.5 feet long and about 3 feet wide right here. So, you know, it's not really a huge space. You don't need a huge space to be able to grow things. So I'm going to take my oregano out of here, and I think I'm actually going to leave my mint in this pot here because mint spreads so crazy that I'm going to leave it there. Oregano spreads pretty far as well, but not quite like mint does. So I'm going to leave my mint in here and just kind of transplant my oregano. My oregano came from our old house. I actually dug it up and brought it with me because I have a funny story about that. Our old, the soil where we lived at our old house was very clay-like. It was red and just, it didn't really grow things very well. And I had a really hard time growing things. And oregano was the first thing that I was able to grow. And I was very, very proud of my oregano. And I used it all the time. And my husband one day wanted to be helpful, and he went out and weeded my flower bed for me, and he ripped up all of my oregano. But a couple weeks later it all came back, and so oregano is actually really hard to kill. And it's kind of a funny story, and so I wanted to go ahead and just bring my oregano with me rather than buying new and starting over. So we are going to just stick that whole wad in here like that. So this is going to be my oregano section. And then, like I said, you can see the mint is still in here. And I think I'm just going to leave the mint in here, and this will be my my mint bucket. I'll just have to remember to water it. Obviously plants in pots need more water because their roots don't go down as deep and they don't get the natural water out of the ground. So you just have to be more conscientious about watering it. So that is going to be all of my herbs for now. So I've got mint, I've got oregano, and then here is a bucket of rosemary. Now I'm going to try to keep most of my rosemary in here, but I'm having a hard time remembering to water this. So I'm actually going to try to transplant some of it, some roots. I'm going to try to transplant some of it over into there, and let's see if this works. I'm going to pull up some roots, and rosemary is fairly hardy as well. All right, so I'm going to leave this here. He seems to be pretty happy there. Now this rosemary started out, I just got a stick of rosemary from the grocery store, and I just had the roots and stuff, and then I just put it in some soil and it started growing. So it's not really difficult to do rosemary. Let's put him down by the oregano. So I'm going to And then when you first transplant something, it's just really important to keep it watered. So for the next week or so, I'm going to have to do a really good job of remembering to get these guys watered. Good. All right, well, it's been about 2 weeks since I've planted my herbs, so I thought I would come out here and show you how they're doing. This is the oregano. Some of it didn't really make it, and so I ripped that stuff out right over there, but most of it you can see is doing great. And so if it's lasted 2 weeks, then it's pretty much going to make it, and so that's a really good sign. We've got some new growth right here, so once you start seeing new growth, then you know that your transplants are going to make it. Same thing with the rosemary. Some of it didn't make it, like this right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw him in the grass right there. But all of this stuff, it's still green, and it looks like it's going to make it. I see a little bit of new growth kind of there at the top of some of those. I'm not sure if you can see it. So if it's been here for 2 weeks and you see new growth, that's a pretty good sign. I think my transplants are going to make it. So let's come look at the mint. Same thing for the mint. This part right here, this one didn't make it, so we're just going to go ahead and take that out. This one didn't make it, so we're going to go ahead. Oh, but you know what? There at the bottom, there's actually some new growth. So I'm just going to leave that in there. And that one, this will just eventually wither up and just kind of break off and go away. But I'm actually not going to pull that up because there's some little bit of new growth there. So you can see that how the mint is already starting to spread. And then there's all of that is new growth. And so this stuff is doing well. I'll keep you updated, and you can see probably in a week or two, in a month, and for sure next spring it's just going to be probably full of mint. Mint spreads like crazy. So that's just a fun little update on my herb garden.